Welcome to the But Did You Die podcast. This is Darren Boot Clark coming to you live in the friendly confines of the mean streets of El Lago in COVID-19 era, which I'm interviewing today one of my longest and best friends, my hunting buddy, the guy, my ride or die, the guy that we go way, way back, and we've been in lots of trouble and had lots of fun and everything guys used to do when guys are guys and before the snowflake era. It's going to be a little bit different because we're a little raw. Today's going to be talking about hunting and the event that happened in, hunting. And it goes right along with COVID-19. Clean, safety, wear gloves, wash your hands. And today we're going to talk about Wade's near-death experience. He almost bought his ticket due to a hunting. It wasn't an accident. It was a skinning accident. And he's going to go dive right into it. So without further ado, welcome to the stage, Wade Bingley.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, you bet. And I appreciate you be willing to share this well needed topic. But before we get in, go ahead.
Just with everything that's going on right now, I mean, like you said, clean is clean, man.
Yep. Safety is key. And
you ain't keeping it tight, you're going to get bit.
Yep. So before we get into all the serious crap, let's learn a little bit about you. What's your favorite muscle car?
Anything Chevrolet, late 60s, mid 60s, right? All of them.
Right.
Anything muscle. But the current project I've been messing with for the last few years is a 72 Nova.
Gotcha.
I'm a Nova guy, Camaro, Tri-5 Chevy guy, whatever. Okay. All the cool stuff, all the movie cars,
Yeah.
And then it looked good, looked like it was muscled.
What's your favorite movie car then? Movie muscle car?
Oh, 2-lane black top, the Gasser 55 Chevy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's the Smoking the Bandit, Band 1.
Right. Or you go back to American Graffiti, Bob Falca's 55 or the 5-window Deuce Coupe, any of that stuff, any little hot rod, drag race.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff I like.
When muscle cars were muscle cars and not computerized.
Yeah, not snowflake, plug in the wall and cruise 200 miles and that's it.
Right. Put it on the trailer and go.
Yeah, right.
And then what? But
you do know big diesel generators run those pumps, right?
What's your favorite type of animal to hunt?
You asked me this question not too long ago, and I got to thinking. I think my favorite animal to hunt, other than old wired-haired tanks, is probably squirrel hunting.
Really?
Because gets right back to the basics. It's spot and stalk. It's not target shooting out of a stand.
Right.
You got to be stealthy to slip up on them little critters, and they can see you. They got a 50-foot, anywhere from a 20 to 50-foot elevated vantage point above you, so they can see you coming from a long way off.
Yeah, they can.
And that just made more sense to me. Is that's hunting. What we have grown into with our box stands and our feeders,
right?
It's a hope and a prayer that something really good quality comes. If you start throwing the right feed, right, surroundings, you get the bigger animals. But at the end of the day, we're pretty much target shooting out of a box blind.
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong. I do it. I will get in a box blind in a minute. I'm not knocking it one bit. It's how we do things down there in Texas. But,
right.
To be able to get in the woods and spot and stalk and try and be quiet and stealthy. And to the point where I've actually slipped up on deer.
Yeah.
And had them within 25 feet of me, and they didn't even know I was standing there.
Sure.
But you're playing wind and everything else again.
And with squirrel hunting, that's big up in Ohio where you started hunting.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And aim small, really, miss small there.
Yeah, and really, like everything else up here, man, they heavy animals. There's squirrels up here 2-3 times the size that they are in Texas.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're huge. This time of year, they're fixing to run the fat off of them because we had a light winter. Dude, they got fat rolls on their squirrels up here. It's crazy.
They're like trees full of packages of sausages.
Yep. But and the thing that blows my mind in the northern states is the
Yeah.
color variations.
Yeah.
We've got the black coal rocks. I've seen pieballs, albinos, blonde squirrels, not a fox squirrel, but a blonde squirrel,
Mm-hmm.
fox squirrels, gray squirrels. I mean, you name it. They've got every color. And you'll see that on an average weekend,
Oh,
just out
wow.
driving around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, of course, you got the deer up here that are gargantuan.
Right. Compared to the dogs we got down here.
Yeah, I mean, their yearlings right now run, I would say a yearling is probably about a 3.5-year-old doe size in East Texas.
Really?
And at the yearling up here, yeah, their yearlings will crack 100 pounds.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, you've been hunting with me. You've seen
Oh,
us
yeah.
smack down 90-pound stuff.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know? But
So,
it's meat in the freezer. I don't
yeah.
care.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Neither one of us are trophy hunters, really. We
Yeah, I
like
mean,
the
I'm not
meat.
going to shoot nothing with spots on it or
Right.
little tiny basket racks. But if it's little doe shows up, little doe gets nailed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
So the show, But Did You Die, is all about a near-death experience, overcoming adversity of any kind, whether it be a divorce that somebody goes through, a near-death experience, a battle with cancer, um, financial distress. And that's what this show is all about, because one, it helps the person that's been through it tell their story, kind of a healing process when it could be something traumatic. And two, it's educational and inspiring to let people that are going through it or have been through it in the past, not know how to deal with it, know that they're not alone, and they can move past it and move through it. So it's kind of twofold. So that's what the podcast is all about. And Wade, if you would like to tell us your But Did You Die story, we would love to hear it.
yeah. So this was about 4.5 years ago. Lived in a rural area, Northeast Houston,
Yeah.
out in a little area called Tarkington Prairie. And good neighbors of mine let me set up traps and stuff because we were having issues with the hog problem we had there in the area. So we started trapping them just for something to do and a little bit of fun, put a little meat in the freezer, And this one particular morning, I walked up to the trap and a buddy of mine helped me out. And we had 5 of them, about 60 pounders in there. And
Ooh, good
we
eating.
dispatched all 5 of them, got them loaded up on the truck, and then rolled over to the house, which is a quarter mile away.
Sure.
Got the tractor out, strung them up, started cleaning them, and then it turned into more of a class than anything because the couple of gentlemen that were there to come pick up these smaller, perfect barbecue size pigs,
Right.
they had never cleaned one.
Okay.
So I was teaching them how to skin and, what to look out for, what not to hit, but, bladder bags and stuff like that would ruin the meat. And I inadvertently, didn't think anything of it, had nicked my knuckle.
Okay.
Got cleaned up, disinfectant, soap and everything, got it bandaged up and went right back to cleaning hogs. I mean, it's just something that if you're not paying 100% attention, you're going to do this to yourself.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've done it. We've all done it.
We have all nicked. Sure.
Yeah. And never thought a thing of it. Got them all cleaned up. People took their pigs home. Everybody was happy. And 30 days later, I'm sitting at the office, had just gotten back from lunch. And this is in the summertime. This is in July. No,
Okay.
June. This is in June. So we're 90 plus degrees already in the Houston area. And I come down with the coldest chill I'd ever had in my life. I could not get warm. Shook so hard, my phone would literally fly out of my hand across the room because I couldn't hang on to anything because it was just trembling from being so cold.
This is like going to work feeling great, no problem.
Yeah, I had no problem.
Split second, light switch.
Yep, exactly. And it was just like, at first I thought, man, they really cranked down the air conditioning when it first started coming on.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking, I went from feeling okay to on my way to an emergency room within 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And when I walked in underneath my own power, and luckily I worked in the medical center there in Houston. So it was just literally right across the street was a ER that I could go to. Walked in and they immediately, it wasn't even a cold tremble anymore, more than it looked like a convulsion. That's how bad I was shaking. And they started immediately treating me as drug overdose.
Really?
And I'm trying to tell them I don't do drugs, but I can't talk. I mean, I'm shaking that violently. And I mean, I couldn't get warm. I've never in my life been that cold before.
Hmm.
And so they started treating me and everything. They finally figured out it's not drugs, something else is going on. So then I moved me to a room. And this is where the story for me kind of turns with me and my wife. My wife had lost her mother a month prior to this and had passed away. And they went through the whole thing with their mother and the ICU and the emergency room and all that. I wasn't
Mhm.
that far. I wasn't in an ICU, but when they rolled the crash card in, that's when shit got real.
Yeah.
And they're like, she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I was just shy of 200 beats a minute on my heart rate.
Oh my
My
God, you were
temperature
running.
was 105, 106 degrees. And I thought I was dying. I mean, I said, if this is what dying feels like, this scares the hell out of me. I feel horrible.
So Deidre had made it to the hospital?
Yeah, this is that evening. She had made it to the hospital, and they're rolling crash carts in and everything. And they said, look, he's running a marathon, like he's running flat out. I stayed that way for 17, 18
Oh
hours.
my God. I don't remember that part of it. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty hairy, And then the next day I was fine. The very next day I felt great. Deidre comes to the hospital. The wife, she comes to the hospital, and within just hold on, sorry, hey, sorry,
There goes
my
Deidre.
children.
Deidre made a cameo.
Yeah, right. But Deidre was there, and we were joking and laughing and everything, and they had a disease doctor in there, all this, and they immediately started treating it as brucellosis, which is the virus we get from drinking raw milk and stuff like that. That's why
Right.
we pasteurize everything now.
Yeah.
The only thing they could pin it on, they started asking me, have you been around any farm animals and stuff like that? And my brain's not thinking
Sure.
farm animal in a pen. That's where I'm at. I'm
Yeah.
not thinking feral hogs at all. I
Right.
mean, it's furthest from mine. Started running back the dates, and then I started looking. I'm like, exactly 30 days prior to me walking into that emergency room is when I nicked my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're sitting there talking to the doctors and all this, I told Deidre, my wife, to go and get the nurse. I want some of them heated blankets. I can feel this coming back.
Oh God.
And she's like, are you kidding me? It's like, no, man, my temperature had leveled out. My heart rate was back down. And inside of 10 minutes, I spiked to 106 degrees again, back up to 109, 180, 190 beats a minute. And I mean, just sweating profusely
Oh
and
my
freezing to
gosh.
death. I mean,
Yeah.
there's literally a pile of blankets on me. Well, the doctor had said, I really would like to come in here and let my students watch what's fixing to happen to you if you legitimately think that this is coming. Like, I don't give a shit. So here he rifles in 12, 15
Oh
students
God.
to watch this wave come over and watch how fast everything would take off. He goes, I couldn't pay to have this in a classroom
Yeah.
for my students to watch this happen. Well, one thing led to another, and within about 24 hours, I was fine. They released me from the hospital, and me and the wife went shopping on the way home that evening. I felt fine after that.
I
No
remember talking to
medication.
you. You had been released, and we talked
Yeah,
that day. You were going shopping. Yeah.
yeah. And it was just like, I had no idea. They said, oh, it's just brucellosis. It ran its course and all that. So about 2-3 weeks later, I'm sitting at work. I went right back to work. I was out for 2.5 days from work. Then it was the weekend. I went right back to work Monday like nothing had happened. Everybody's like, what the hell's going on? I said, don't know. Nobody knows what happened.
Yeah.
So 2-3 weeks later, I'm sitting at the office and my phone rings and I answer it and like, hello. And they're like, this is so-and-so from the CDC out of Alabama.
Oh wow.
CDC, she goes, yeah, it's the
Center for Disease Control.
disease control. Thank you. And I'm like, why are you calling me? So she starts asking me all these questions. I'm like, wait. This has got to do with when I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago. She's like, yes, we've got some results back that we're trying to figure out how you got this. I'm like, got what? I said, the results came back and you have hepatitis D, like in the letter dog. And I was like, never heard of it. What happened to A, B, and C? And that's when she got into this big spiel about how many different types of hepatitis is out
Mm-hmm.
there. Typically, hepatitis D comes from third world countries, some food you ate or something you've gotten exposed to in the water, or something to that effect. And she says that your immune system, everybody thinks you're in your prime in your teens and late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
She goes, you are physically, but as far as your immune system, you're in your prime in your 30s and 40s. That's when you've pretty much been exposed to everything, and it's hard. Your immune system's at peak performance.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. And then we started running down what was going on, and she told me after finding out that I had been messing with those feral hogs and had nicked my finger, that I had contracted the hepatitis D from cleaning that feral pig.
Wow.
And then went into stating that they've also found it also in whitetail as well.
Hmm.
It's not big, said less than 1% of the country gets it from these animals.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, your best bet now is go play the lottery. She goes, because your odds was high.
Yeah.
She said, and from that point on, I mean, you know, me and you've hunted together. You guys even laughed at me. Be standing back there putting gloves on before I'd even walk up to that animal.
Yeah.
I mean,
before making the first cut, just grabbing it, you wanted gloves on from then on.
Yep. I mean, even if I dropped it there at the feeder, I put a glove on before I even tried to get it in the back of a truck or an ATV or whatever. I had a glove on. I don't want to even touch the blood on that thing.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
That was by far the sickest I had ever been in my life.
So did they ask you, did you have to reach out to the people that you gave the hogs to? I mean, it cooked out?
It cooks out 160 degrees. It cooks off the hepatitis.
Same as
pork. Like it is brucellosis, all that cooks out of all that.
Right.
I did have to reach out to the the Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Right.
Let them know what was in the area. And then we actually trapped the sow that threw the 5 that I had gotten a hold of, because we're in the area. We've seen her all the time.
Yeah.
And she was smart. It took me probably 2.5 months to trap her.
Oh, wow.
But we finally trapped her, and then I got a hold of the Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Yeah.
And they sent a man over. They dispatched that pig and took it with them.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And that man gloved up all the way to his elbows. And he said, "You're sure this is the animal?" I said, "Oh, I'm absolutely positive that's the animal."
Huh.
And they took it back and called me a couple weeks later and said, "Yep, you were on the money. She had hepatitis D. She was a carrier."
Yeah. So they tested it, and I guess it's passed down through the blood.
Yep.
Wow.
And they said best thing you could have done was get her out of the equation.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, we got lucky. We were in the area every day because we lived there. And we've seen this pig all the time. So spotting her wasn't a problem. It was just something you've seen every day out there.
Yeah.
So we just had to outsmart her on the trap to get her into it.
Oh, as long as y'all lived out there, every morning, every night, I'd get a picture. You have pigs. They driving home, driving to work.
Well, even the neighbors, when they found out about it, they were spooked because this is something in their neighborhood. They've got children and stuff like that.
Sure.
And it was almost like there was a bounty on her. If you could get a shot off at her, shoot her. You know, just to get her out of the equation. She was making people sick.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Wade, whenever you went through that, what like going back, unpacking a little bit, when you were in the hospital and you were shaking, and before Deidre got there, and what was going through your mind?
I'm gonna die in here with nobody I know.
Yeah.
Literally. When she got there, when I told her this is the scariest thing I ever felt. If I'm dying, it scares the hell out of me. I feel bad, and I actually started crying.
Yeah, sure.
And and then she's all upset because, like I said, she had just lost her mother but a month prior to me going into the emergency room.
Yep.
And being you at the time, you was in the emergency room the week before me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's when our wives are like, "Okay, you two got to quit trying to compete."
Right. Yeah, they both said that.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of pulled you through it? I mean, did you just kept a positive mindset?
Yeah.
Just you knew you didn't want to die, or?
Yeah, and you know me. It takes quite a bit to get me off into a darker area.
Yeah. You're a positive, optimistic guy.
Yeah, and there's always a silver lining. There's always something coming around the corner for you. It's just you got to give it time, let it cook.
Right.
Well, and that's kind of how I went through that. The rough part was watching the wife so upset.
Yeah.
That's when I started getting emotional, when she got emotional.
Right. And then
But
kind of having to
yeah, I
pull
mean,
it together for her.
yeah, yeah. You're sitting there feeling like hell, and here she comes walking through the room. You got like 2.5 seconds to get your shit together and
Yeah.
be strong for her. You
Right.
know,
Right.
it's just I don't know. That's just the way I am.
Well, and I've been through my share of stuff, and I think positive mental attitude when you're in your darkest times is key.
Hmm.
I mean, even when you were feeling like crap, um, and we were still cutting jokes. Now it
Oh
wasn't like
yeah.
normally, but you were still trying to make me. You were more worried about me getting worried about you
Yep.
because they wouldn't let anybody come see you, and I mean
Hmm.
Deidre could, but and I wanted to get there, and they wouldn't let me, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna be fine. Just we're gonna ride this through. They think it's brucellosis at the time,
Yep.
and then when it became hepatitis D, that was that was an eye opener because my favorite thing to hunt is hogs, and
Hey, the funny thing is, we were at Langley's
yeah,
just in end of May, beginning or end of April, beginning of May that year, and me and Randy were sitting there talking about how sick he had gotten one time from a nick,
huh,
and they thought it was brucellosis too. And then the next year when we went, me, Randy, and his wife got to talking about it, and they said that they highly suspect now that he
yeah,
ended up with hepatitis D and
wow,
not brucellosis.
okay, yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, right. I mean, here we were talking about it 2 months before, and then bang, here I am sitting in a hospital with this wicked infection. I mean, even the white blood cells, they were
Yeah.
through the roof.
Oh
I
wow.
mean, it was crazy. And then within hours, it right back down. And
Hmm.
then within another few minutes, spiked through the roof again. I mean, it was probably one of the wickedest roller coaster rides I'd ever been on.
And it can be deadly, obviously.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. And it said if back to why you're in your prime with your immune system in your 30s and 40s.
yeah,
Said if I'd have been elderly or young, small child, it would
yeah,
have killed me outright.
really.
Yep.
Okay.
I said when people get hit with something like that, it's such a drastic hit to the system,
Hmm.
and your body goes into quadruple overdrive trying to fight it. Young kids' hearts aren't developed enough to take that kind of hit,
Hmm.
just like the elderly can't take that kind of hit to the heart. And
Yeah.
you have a heart while you're sitting there pushing on 200 beats a minute.
Wow.
That's crazy. But the really funny part was just shy of 48 hours in the hospital,
Yeah.
17 pounds lost laying in a bed. That's how
Woo.
hard my body had ran those 48 hours. And they weren't letting me eat anything, liquid diet. They
Yeah.
didn't want to give you anything that might make you sicker.
Right.
So my calorie intake was probably 500 calories, 1,000 calories a day. And I lost 17 pounds in 48 hours.
Hell of a way to lose weight.
Yeah, yeah, not a weight loss program I would suggest to anybody.
So Wade, what let's talk about prevention and what are some things, safety measures. What can people do to prevent? I mean, people are going to hunt and people are going to it's ultimately the cleanest way to eat, right?
Mhm.
So, what's the best way to prevent this from getting it?
Glove up, pay
Mm,
attention, don't take your mind off the game. The minute you took, and that's exactly what it was. I took my mind off the game for a split second. I got nailed.
yeah.
That's all she wrote. I would have never in a million years thought that within a second or two of my blood coming into contact with that pig's blood,
Right.
in just a matter of seconds, would have propelled me into what happened 30 days later.
And then I imagine if you do get nicked, immediately deglove, decontaminate, wash, scrub.
And I was told it doesn't matter.
Really?
The glove is a light protection.
Yeah.
The only way to keep from contracting what I did is don't get cut or don't be cleaning animals. That was
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
You know. So, but like I said, we're gonna hunt. We're gonna fish. I
Yep.
mean, these are things that our type of people do.
Right.
We love it. We
Yeah.
love the outdoors. We love the camaraderie among friends when you're doing this together.
Absolutely.
That's something I will never ever quit doing.
Yeah. You'll just be
But
more
now I'm just a
protective.
little bit more cautious when I do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
It,
as you well know, I mean, when I showed up at camp,
yeah.
everybody's got a box of gloves.
Oh
Do
yeah.
not touch these animals. And I'm trying to protect my friends, and they all laugh and stuff like that. I'm like, you'll laugh until you get this one time,
Right.
and then you'll quit laughing. You'll be over there like me. I mean, literally, the first year afterwards, cleaning animals, I
Yeah.
would wear those thick dishwashing gloves
Right.
over top of a set of latex tight rubber gloves,
Why not?
just to keep from. Bad thing is, I lost all my feeling. I
Yeah. Oh
can't
yeah. Yeah.
feel when I'm cleaning. So,
Right.
all right, throttle back a little bit because you're just gun shy, so you can get that feel, so you don't cut yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
So just wear maybe a couple set of gloves instead of
Yeah,
the chainmail.
yeah, right, right.
No, I mean, yeah. After you told that story, I got it out to everybody we know.
Yeah.
And
It was surprising how many people did not ever, just like us, we had never heard of anything.
no. I mean, yeah.
Education, it's all education.
Right. And like with COVID,
Yep.
cleanliness, safety, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of going
Mhm.
through the shit, right?
Hey, hanging out with neighbors last night. One of them wanted to shake my hand when I was leaving, say goodbye. I said, no, thank you, sir.
Yep. Yeah. 6 feet
Yep.
away. And when we get back out to go through this, everybody's going to go to chicken winging.
Yep. But I mean, it's just, we're growing up in me and you were done growing up, but
Yeah.
ask our wives, we're still acting like a couple dumbass kids, but
Oh, yeah. 12-year-old. I get told that weekly.
right. Education, constantly learning.
Yeah.
Constantly, even with this shit, we're growing up in a completely different time than our parents and our grandparents did.
Yep.
Our grandparents and parents, those were wartime children.
Oh, yeah.
Your grandparents were in World War II. Your parents were in Korea and Vietnam. That was a different type of worry. Now here
Right.
now we're all sitting around worrying about something we can't see.
Yeah.
We don't know. Nobody knows anything about it.
Right.
And if I get it today, if I come down with COVID-19 today, I'm not going to know.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Right.
probably be sicker than hell again.
Yeah.
Just like that's what we're talking about. But I will know what it is because the way the media has, I wouldn't say so much the media, the doctors that the media is interviewing are giving the information out about
Right.
what the symptoms and stuff are. That's, again, more education. But this is something, I mean, just like the hepatitis D. Who in the hell in a million years would have thought? I mean, how many times have we been nicked cleaning animals?
Oh, every
It happens
time.
all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a knife in your hand, you're going to get cut.
Right.
But,
Now,
again, here we are fighting something that you can't see.
right. Yeah. The
The
faceless
invisible enemy.
Yep.
And it's back to being clean. I mean, I was not being clean that day. No gloves, cleaning these nasty ass feral pigs.
Talking and cleaning, right?
Yeah. And that's it. Just how you did. I just took my eyes off it 1 second. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we're not even talking, it was just a scratch, dude. It didn't even drip blood.
Right.
It was just a scratch.
60-pound pig, right? We just throwing it around and I mean, you can shuck them skins quick.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's once you got it going on, zip it right off of them.
Right.
It's like pulling a jacket off a 6-year-old.
Yep. Well, great. Well, Wade, thanks so much. I appreciate you telling the story and getting the message out. I know it's been a while, like I said, 4.5 years, but my God, I remember it like it was yesterday. I know you do.
Yep. Every time I get feeling bad, I remember.
Right. It ain't that bad, right?
Exactly. I can do this. This is nothing.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for your time, and I appreciate you sharing this with everybody. And I think we've definitely got the message out that you need to stay clean, stay safe, and glove up.
For sure.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you having me on, buddy.
You bet.
All right.